It's a revolution of how footwear is created, which is still very traditional. It's a big step towards circularity and a much higher level of sustainability.
In 2010, the co-founders of On envisioned a revolutionary concept in footwear, a shoe made to mimic the sensation of running on a cloud. Their innovative cloud tech technology was born, and with it came a new era in athletic performance and design. Fast forward to today, and On has grown from a niche player into one of the fastest growing athletic brands globally. With its distinct look and logo, On is now ubiquitous, not just among running enthusiasts, but on billboards in fashion and in the world's biggest arenas. As an analyst covering Softlines Retail and Brands, I wanted to learn more about how On broke through a crowded market and where it's going. So I traveled to the company's headquarters in Zurich. There I sat down with, and ran with, On's co-CEO and chief financial officer, Martin Hoffmann. We spoke about his pivotal decision to join On when it was still just a startup, the company's unique leadership structure, and what it takes to make a shoe in only 3 minutes. Well, Martin, thanks so much for having me. I personally always love coming here because I get to squeeze a run in every single time. So maybe just starting with, your connection to running.
So I've been an endurance athlete, I think, all my life, but more in cycling, skiing. I think running really came a little bit with the start at On. But now I run almost every day. It's really that feeling of cleaning the mind and just feeling good. The more is going on here at On, the more I need to run.
You gave some sort of speech, I think, at the IPO Analyst Day, and I always think about it now when I'm having like a horrible day. Like, oh, well, I should go for a run because it'll benefit me later from clarity of thoughts. I want to talk about when you joined the company a little over 10 years ago, and you joined from a public business. So what made you take that leap to a lesser known On at the time?
Mark, who is now my co-CEO, and we worked together in our previous company. And so one day he came to me and he said, "Hey, Martin, I have good news, bad news." I said, "What's the bad news?"
Bad news first.
I'm leaving. I want to join that startup that is doing running shoes, which I told you about. And then I asked, "Okay, so what's the good news?" And they also look for someone who takes care of finance. Then I had basically my first session with the 3 founders. And there I felt something that I had never felt in a business meeting before, where you deal with 3 people who are very special in their areas, but with a deep respect amongst each other. And I think that really impressed me and felt like, hey, this is my place.
And as you made that switch, what were the biggest concerns at the time?
No concerns at all. I think as of day one, it was just enjoy the craziness, dream on. When I joined, we basically built our first business plan, and there was our dream, hey, one day we want to sell 1 million pairs of shoes. And that was in 2013, and that dream was for 2017. So basically over 4 years, we wanted to reach that mark. And last month, we had our first week where we sold 1 million pairs of shoes. So this is how far we came.
A nice full circle moment. Yeah. When you were joining, what was Mark's pitch? Because this is such a competitive market that you guys operate in.
Well, he basically told me you should try the shoe. So, which is by the way, what we do with everyone. And then I was running it and felt like, that's cool, that's something special. And that made me switch. I was like, okay, this is something that connects so much to my passion and what I want to do, that there was no question asked, hey, this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment.
With Nike, Adidas, kind of some of these big mass brands having such big market share in the space, what did you see as differentiated with On specifically?
So we had a very unique outsole technology, cloud tech. And basically, the way we described it in the early days was it provides cushioned landing and a firm push-off, which you feel when you wear the shoe. And the other kind of mission statement that we had back in the days was to put the fun into the run. So we went to a lot of events where we created cultural moments, but really rooted in fun moments. And that created the core of the company. And it was always out of a perspective being innovative and doing things differently.
I just saw the light spray technology, amazing. Never seen anything like it. How did that come to be at On?
It's a revolution of how footwear is created, and it's a unique design language that comes out of this. It's a big step in the automation of footwear manufacturing, which is still very traditional. And it's a big step towards circularity and a much higher level of sustainability.
Every shoe is made out of plastic.
Right.
So, and in our case, we transform this pellet. Here you see the pellet to a filament. And then we blow this filament onto the surface.
It becomes like a spray.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we spray the material and then it becomes a textile. And this textile then is creating the product. We have our spraying technology, we have a robot. And combining these two elements, we are able to control every part of the shoe. So there's the line, we can go fast, slow, whatever we want. We connect this to here, this goes into the machine, and then what you see right now, we're creating the connection between bottom unit and upper.
Speaking of how On was different, one thing that's very different about this business compared to other running companies is your foray into tennis.
Now, our business model is actually very simple. So we do and create premium products that are rooted in performance, design, and sustainability. Then we find athletes who give those products credibility. Out of that, we create stories that we tell to the world. And then we just make sure that the fans become eternal fans of the brand. Now, tennis, of course, we just had the best athlete in the world who joined us in 2019, Roger Federer. So it was very logical with him to develop those best products to play tennis in. And he gave them credibility and was also good in telling the story. So it was a perfect match.
I want to focus on apparel. You're obviously showcasing some of it. It was a later kind of entry for On. So how did you guys think about entering that category?
It falls into that part of the strategy to have additional pillars for growth. So we have started in footwear. We started our journey in apparel back in 2016, have learned a lot ever since. The tennis culture, the training culture has a strong influence into our everyday wear. And so we definitely want to grow apparel. Short-term goal is to bring this to like 10% of our business, but of course it can be much bigger in the future.
One of the pushbacks you hear sometimes is that it's more of a lifestyle brand. So how do you respond to that fad risk type of argument?
I think I would just respond, how can something be that is at the pinnacle of performance and looks good be fad? I mean, then a lot of companies would have a problem. Just think about Porsche, Apple, Dyson, and it's just that unique combination. And it's the understanding that what makes you feel good while performing makes you also feel good in a daily basis.
A lot of companies talk about sustainability, but few were born with sustainability as like a core principle, either in the DNA and the culture as you were. So why was that the case? How was sustainability expressed over at On?
If you look into our industry, it's a must that we need to rethink how we create product. So we have two big goals, which is reducing the CO2 footprint and moving towards circularity. Back in the days, we dreamed how we can basically make shoes out of the clouds, and we were able to do this by capturing carbon from the air and building shoes and apparel out of this, which is called Clean Cloud. And then we brought the first shoe to market that is circular. We only made it available as a subscription model, but we are still at the very beginning because we need to scale it, and there's a lot of work involved on the operations side. It doesn't help if we just use recycled material, because there will be not enough plastic bottles in the world that help the apparel industry to create apparel. So we need to close our own loop, and that's what we are working on. But it's in the DNA of the company, of the team. It's not a marketing story, it's truly who we are.
How do you guys think about the approach to marketing?
In the early days, we mainly grew through mouth-to-mouth promotion. And basically, our goal was to fuel this and to fuel it with being relevant in the community. Working with athletes, which now basically resulted in winning 6 medals at the Olympics. Also giving credibility through cultural relevant people, and Zendaya is a very good example. she loves sport, she loves movement, and she reaches a very unique customer group for us.
This was one of your first kind of major presences at the Olympics.
Both for the brand and for myself. Never made it to an Olympics before. It makes me extremely proud. First to see what the team has pulled off at our on labs and basically showing the brand there, inviting so many people from around the world, showing light spray, but also engaging with the athletes. And then, of course, seeing our athletes competing, Jared Goose winning the bronze medal.
Another thing that's different about On is the co-CEO structure. Talk to me about how that came to be, how the relationship works with Mark.
Extremely good. So as I shared, we know each other for, I think, 13, 14 years now. We are good friends. We also have very different strengths and weaknesses, which helps a lot then to talk about things. And in the end, we come to better decisions out of that. And I really think it's a beneficial structure. We are a partnership of 5 that is leading the company. And we also try to apply the same logic in regions, in functions, that we really believe in the power of teams and the power of diversity and diverse thinking and diverse ideas. And so that's not only living basically amongst Mark and myself, but it's living across the whole company.
What happens when you disagree? Rock, paper, scissors?
No, you need to talk things through and then in the end come to the right decision. And it almost never happens that we in the end need to say, okay, do we go your way or my way? We usually go the better way.
What's next for On in your mind?
Our mission is to grow in a durable way. So maintaining a strong growth, but in the end, we want to ignite the human spirit through movement and ideally igniting that spirit in millions and millions and millions of people all around the world. We are a global brand, global company, which is super exciting to see On growing in China, in the US, in South America, in Europe, and then do it across our different channels. So with our retail partners, in our own retail stores, in e-com. And you can dream about many sports where On can be present in the future. And I think we are just tipping the iceberg at the moment. And then you have things like light spray where you can think in a totally new way of how to run a business model. And those are the things that keep me excited.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love coming here.
Thanks for coming here. Thank you.